All right, for today's episode, I am joined by my guest Drew, and he's going to start by sharing a little bit about his background in music.
Yeah, definitely. So, my background in music is kind of, um, I would say it's not necessarily like a linear like progression. So, I mean, I kind of started music when I was young, ever since I was a kid. Always loved, being creative, whether that was making music or listening to music or acting or doing these different creative fields. But I started um, by getting this one red guitar for my birthday for my grandma, and I learned how to play guitar, and it was just something that captivated my young mind, and I just like was so um, attracted to just like the feeling you get when you're making music or playing music. So I started with guitar and I moved on to other instruments, and I always wanted to sing, although I didn't always have the best voice when I was young, especially, and I was always into rap music. And then I went through kind of like a bit of tragedy in my life. I ended up my I went through a really bad hurricane, which my house got completely destroyed in. So I moved to Florida from New York, and I kind of like fell out of touch with music, just getting transitioned into a new place. And around middle school, I kind of picked it back up and started getting back into beats. Uh, and over the years, just taking that production skills that I learned and kind of started to put my vocals on it and started rapping, and now I'm on to singing. So it's kind of just like, as time went on, although music, fell out of the picture for a little bit, it made its way back to me. So that's kind of like my story. And now I'm consistently releasing music and growing an amazing fan base of people who support me, and I'm very happy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Was there anything specific? I know, you mentioned transitioning from rap to singing. I know you kind of still put out both. Is there anything that specific that kind of made you want to transition more to more? Not that it's not rap still, because you still put out rap music, obviously, but there's some like "Why Do I" obviously isn't really a rap song.
Yeah.
More deeper music. Not that rap can't be deep. I don't want anyone to think I'm saying that, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, for sure. I think the reason why I'm transitioning over into more melodic, I guess, kind of more singy song music is because I never really was able to tap into that place, and now that I've been working on my voice and on my songwriting, it's kind of opened up this whole different box for me to kind of go into, and when you never do something and you kind of like figure out like that you love to do it, it makes you just want to continue to do that thing. So for me, I found like a really deep passion for pop music, and I guess as I've gotten older, it's kind of been like, okay, I really love to do this. Why can't I do this myself? I know I rap, but why can't I, try something new? So that's kind of where my head's at right now, is just experimenting and diving into these different things that I normally, wouldn't do or haven't done yet. And I've been getting a lot of joy out of it.
That's awesome. I think that's important. I mean, that's the biggest part of it as a musician. I mean, you got long hours, tirelessly working. It's important to enjoy it, right? That's probably the biggest.
Exactly. Yep.
What's what's been your favorite song that you've made so far? If you had to pick one.
Okay, that's a good question. Um, my favorite song that I've made so far is probably "Name Rings Bells." It's a song that's kind of like that in that melodic rap lane. The reason why I like it so much is because the lyrics are so heartfelt to me. Just growing up and experiencing different things and experiencing people who, came and went in my life and experiencing being insecure about who I am and, not confident in myself, whether that's as a person or in my music. It's kind of like a message to my younger self, like, now I've kind of figured out what my passion is and what my calling is, and I'm not going to let anybody stop me from that. So I really connect to those lyrics that I wrote, and I feel like a lot of people do as well. So right now, that's my favorite song that I've done, but there's a lot of stuff that I haven't put out that I get a lot more personal with, which is kind of going back on transitioning more into these like pop songs other than rap songs. It's kind of opened me up to being more personal in a sense in my music and in the lyrics that I write. So yeah, name rings bells.
Name rings bell. I mean, I think that's so important when how much music is put out every day. I mean, it's tough to be personal and be general at the same time, but giving some personality to your music, I think, goes a long ways when there's so much constantly coming out.
Of course. And yeah, music is so oversaturated, and the last thing people want is something that's not you. And I kind of felt like when I was rapping on a lot of my older tracks, I kind of just didn't even feel like myself in a way. And now that I'm, making these songs with more like writing songs with lyrics that actually mean stuff to me, it's making me feel a lot better, a lot better in myself and in myself as a musician too, and an artist and a songwriter. So
Yeah, you mentioned with that song how you kind of felt your confidence shift. Was there anything in your life that kind of helped with that, or was that kind of just a progression of getting older?
I think the progression of me getting older and maturing and going through normal life experiences is what's led me to becoming confident in myself. And there's a turning point in a sense where it's like when I started to release music, I I wasn't the most confident, but as I started to see other people gravitate towards that music, and it wasn't just me with, like, because if it was just me believing in myself, then I would have kind of a hard time believing in myself. But now that I have a lot of people believing in me, it gives me a reassurance, which is really nice.
Yeah, I think that's important. Yeah, for sure. Um, Now I found you through. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was your feature with Andradis and his loneliness song.
Yeah.
And I was just curious, what's kind of like what you look for when you want to do like a collab with an artist?
What I look for when I want to do a collab with an artist is probably the artist's work ethic, number one, because I'm I'm not gonna work with somebody or you know kind of put my vision onto their project if they don't have a good work ethic. Because when somebody's passionate about their work, that's what gravitates me towards working with them. Um, and I also think I have to like the music too. Um, that's not to say that other artists that I don't work with don't make good music, but it's just a personal preference.
Yeah, I think it's tough when there's so many artists out there, right? And obviously you want everyone to get have success in their own ways, but it is hard to pick and choose when there's, like you said, there's so much music constantly coming out. Do you
Yeah,
feel like the music scene has changed a lot just moving down from New York to Florida?
I think the music scene has changed drastically from moving to New York to Florida, because they're two completely different vibes. You know, in New York, it's very like grungy, old
Cold.
school hip hop, lyrical, cold stuff. And down here, it's more like, trap, like just vibey music, which is cool. Like I love both different styles, but it's just a big culture shift. And especially like the people that you work with, it's just really different. And it's not in a bad way or a good way. It's just different.
Was that tough to make connections after you kind of had already made connections in New York and you move into a new place just like anyone else, you know?
Well, the thing is, when I moved from New York, I didn't have so much going for me, and I wasn't so much of an artist yet or putting out music. So here it was kind of, I guess, easy to just throw myself in right off the bat, having no name and just, you know, building myself up. Um, and I think it's because of my work ethic and my respect towards other people. Because when I respect other people, you see that back. So um, I think I definitely didn't think it was that hard making those connections with kind of this South Florida rap scene.
Well, that's good, yeah. Because I know, I mean, anytime you move, it can be tough to transition.
Of course,
Um, yeah. Who are some people that you like would consider like people you looked up to in like the music scene growing up?
growing up, the people that I looked up to in the music scene would probably have to be Mac Miller, Justin Bieber, Bruno Mars, Kanye, Drake, and Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. That's a good variety. A good
Yeah,
all around.
yeah, yeah. Of course, some of the best artists of all time in there.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of going off of that, who are some artists that you're kind of hoping to collaborate with in the near to maybe a little bit distant future?
There's a lot of artists that I would love to collaborate with. If we're thinking in the grand scheme of things, um, I would love to do music with countless artists that like I would be sitting here listing them off for days. But probably the main ones would probably have to be Justin Bieber, the Kid Leroy, Don Toliver, and Logic.
Logic. That's a good choice. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like those.
So kind of kind of for me right now, that's those would be, I guess, my quote unquote dream collaborations.
Yeah. Going off of collaborating, what was your process like for figuring out how to make beats and stuff for your music and figuring out how to piece stuff together? Because I feel like everyone kind of has a different journey with that.
Of course, so my journey for the production of the songs and also the songwriting and recording and putting out music. I kind of started just like everybody else with YouTube tutorials. I feel like that's where most people get their kind of first like footing in this whole crazy world of music. Um, and I'd say just off of YouTube tutorials and putting in work and practicing every day. That's kind of just led me to where I am now, and it's also just taking bits and pieces off of different people who inspire me as well. And I think a lot of people have a similar journey.
Yeah. Do you? I know you mentioned like the guitar was kind of like the start of everything. Do you try and piece like acoustic stuff and more like beat stuff, or what is your process with that stuff?
I think it really just depends on whatever vibe I'm going for. As you heard with Why Do I, that song is very acoustic bass and kind of brings me back to like my roots of just playing the guitar in my room, and it makes me feel like a sense of nostalgia. But I think it just really depends on what I'm going for and the production of the songs. I really like all different styles of music, and I like putting different things together and experimenting. So it just really depends on the project.
Yeah. Outside of music, is there anything else that you get really into, or is music kind of all day, every day?
Yeah. So outside of music, I love to play soccer. And I love to work out and hit the gym. Um, love to hang out with friends, and not everything. What I've learned over like the past year, kind of, I guess, is that not everything has to be about music. There's still life outside of music, and even though I love this and this is my passion and my dream, and the only thing that I think about when I wake up and go to bed at night, there's life outside of it. So there's a lot of stuff that I do as well.